I always seem to be doing these little impromptu trips where I just want to get out there. It's not a ton of planning, and that also means I'm not bringing a ton of equipment. But in order to document these the way I'd like, well, gear is still necessary. And that is where the DJI Mini 3 comes in. This is the latest tiny drone from DJI, and it takes kind of everything that they've learned in their higher end drones and puts it into a much more affordable package that honestly you could just take with you anywhere and get results that are pretty great. Now, at first glance, this might look very familiar, like DJI already announced this, and well, that's because it's in the very same form factor as the DJI Mini 3 Pro, but this is at a much more affordable price at just under $500. And because it's in that same form factor, you're also getting one of the best features of the Mini line, which is the weight. It's 249 grams, which means you don't have to worry about regulations. You can just buy this, set it up, and start flying. Now, there's kind of two ways to think about the Mini 3. You kind of have, on one hand, the portable side. This is a very tiny drone that, you can fit in your bag very easily, like I mentioned. And then on the other side, you have the affordable drone, your entry-level starting point that you would recommend to people if they've never flown a drone before, never owned a drone before, and they just want to see if it's something that they would enjoy. And I think the Mini 3 accomplishes both of those things extremely well. But the question is it worth it? Did DJI do enough to warrant a purchase? Well, we're gonna figure that out. But as you can tell, or maybe you can't, but it's snowing. Let's head home, get back inside, and let's talk about this camera. I think undeniably one of the reasons to go with a DJI drone over many of the other types of drones out there is because of the camera and the camera quality. And even when you're getting to this lower end model, you are still getting excellent image quality, which is something that you can't really say for a lot of other companies out there. Yes, you can find very affordable drones, like ones in less than $100, but the cameras on them are just not good. But that's where I think DJI kind of takes it to the next level, and they're still doing that here with the Mini 3, even though it's not packed with every single feature that you would have on some of the higher ends. But for the price, I think the quality that you get is pretty remarkable, honestly. Now, in terms of specs, I think this camera has pretty much every feature you'd want, at least in the price category that this is, which is 4K at up to 30 frames per second. It has 2.7K and full HD at up to 60 frames per second, and then you also get HDR video up to 30 frames per second. And then on the photo side, you get 12 megapixel images. And when you are shooting video and photos, you still get full manual control of everything, but you don't have things like color profile, so there's no descent alike here. It's kind of what you see is what you get, which makes it simple for those people that are getting into this, but also gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of image quality. But yeah, you can see here on the screen that the image quality is more than adequate. And if this is the starting drone you're going for, you can kind of grow with it. It's not like you're getting a crappy camera that will never give you good images. No, it will. And then you can grow from there. And it's also packing some of my favorite features of the more expensive Pro model, which the main one being the vertical shooting. That is still here. And that is such a good feature for a product like this on a drone. Being able to shoot vertically just means you get awesome photos, and you can shoot things for social media, which is usually vertical these days. Now, that gimbal system is not the only similarity between it and the Pro model. I mean, the entire design of this drone is the same as the Mini 3 Pro, but it's just missing some of the features that make that model more expensive. And the main thing that it's missing is all these sensors for obstacle avoidance. So if you look above the camera, there's no cameras there. It's just a mesh grill. Same thing on the bottom. There are just two sensors there for landing. And that's what really lets DJI bring the price down, because if it had all those things packed in, well, then you have the Mini 3 Pro. But even without those sensors, this thing is great to fly. One of the issues with a small drone like this is just not having enough power to battle things like the wind, or you don't want it to go too far because maybe it'll run out of battery. Like, all of those things are really not a worry with the Mini 3. And all the innovation that they did with the Mini 3 Pro is basically here with the Mini 3. And compared to the Mini 2, it has more powerful motors and bigger propellers, which gives it that better control in the air. And that leads to level 5 wind resistance, so you can fly in up to 10.7 meters per second of wind, which is a lot. I've flown this in pretty much the windiest conditions that we've had here, and it hasn't been a problem. Whereas in previous models of the Mini, that was not something you could always do, but they've really stepped up their game here. And really, I think the most important thing to remember about that is that, again, who is this product for? It's for those beginners or that entry-level market who maybe you've never really flown a drone or haven't done it that much. So you want to be able to have the most control you can, and that is what you're getting here. Now, speaking of control, the actual controller, another thing that they have added support for that I absolutely love is support for the DJI RC controller, which is the controller with the screen built in. So you don't need your phone, you don't need anything like that. It's all built in. Now, this obviously does add extra cost to the drone, but you don't really need this. You can buy the other kit as well. But if you want to pony up a little bit more money, I think this is absolutely worth it. It changes the way you get set up and just makes everything so much faster, so much more seamless. You don't have to worry about pairing or anything like that. It just works. And even on other products like the Mini 3 Pro or even the Mavic series, having the controller with the screen built in is it's the way to go. Now, like I said at the beginning, there's really two ways to think about a product like this. For me, it's more the portable side of it. I want something that I can take with me everywhere and always use and have decent quality at the same time. And then on the other side, you have the affordability. So those that want something that just doesn't cost too much, doesn't break the bank, but still gives you a lot of features. And I think that's where this product really marries together, because you do get something very portable, very easy to take with you, and does produce good images, but is also not breaking the bank. But now that the Mini 3 exists and the Mini 3 Pro exists, I think the question a lot of people are going to be asking, myself included, is it worth the extra money for the Pro, or are you able to just settle with the Mini and save some of your cash? Well, I have that question too, so I'm actually going to be doing a full comparison between these two, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But if you're looking at the Mini 3 and just wondering if this is the first drone you should buy or if it's worth it at all, I'll say this. Over the Mini 2, you are getting noticeable upgrades in where it matters, with the camera, with the flight ability, and with the controller, or at least having the option to upgrade the controller. And those three categories are kind of what makes a drone, so if you're in the market for one of these, I think it's probably worth giving a shot.